So yeah, the Rockets are super weird, at least to me. It's because, like, yeah, they're not good. It's more so just a bunch of things sort of adding up between, like, is Kevin Porter Jr. the long-term lead ball handler of this team? Are they featuring Sengun enough? Is Jabari having enough off-ball sets run for him to get him some easier looks? And kind of a similar thing for Jalen Green, even if, of course, Jalen can beat guys in one-on-one and stuff like that. If you want to take a quick scan around Rockets internet, the fans are not exactly in support of Steven Silas, the head coach, I'll just say that. Here's the thing, man. Their offense, it's a lot of freelance stuff. I mean, they're second in the league in pick and rolls per game, and when you watch them, I think that tracks. It's a whole lot of Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. working off of screens, and, I mean, both of those dudes are talented. KPJ has had a decent chunk of, like, big games this year where he's able to make pull-ups coming around screens or step backs, and his mid-range has been pretty interesting this season where sometimes he'll, like, get somebody and then he'll hit him with a couple size-up moves, cross over and do, like, a 17-footer or whatever. Like, KPJ is talented, but he's also going to have those games where some of those tough shots are not going to drop, and while he can pull off some slick-looking passes at times, whether it's a bounce pass to Sengun diving to the rim, and we'll talk about Sengun more in this video, or finding somebody in the corner, or finding Kenyon Martin Jr. on a cut, which I also want to talk about Kenyon Martin Jr. a little bit. Like, sure, he can do those things, KPJ, but still, the dude loves to shoot the ball. He's not always going to see the open teammate, and I think if you were going to draw up the perfect role for Kevin Porter Jr., it would not be as a lead ball handler. Of course, guys can improve, and again, he can drop 30 on any given night, but it's just kind of awkward game to game, possession to possession. If we talk about Jalen Green for a bit, I'm still very high on Jalen Green. I know the efficiency is what it is this season, but he's also averaging over 20 a game in his second year. I would also say that I don't think this offense is doing Jalen Green a lot of favors. Sure, there are times where he will get an off-ball action starting from the corner and somebody will set him a down screen and maybe it'll flow into a handoff action with Sengun, and that type of stuff is really good when he's involved in handoffs with Sengun or cutting off of Sengun post-ups. But besides that, a lot of the time it just becomes the freelance sort of go run a pick and roll basically stuff. And like, okay, sure, every single guard who scores in the league is going to have simple pick and rolls run for them sometimes. I'm not saying Jalen should never have that because, I mean, he can make pull-ups now and you want him to keep developing that. He's got the burst off the dribble. He's got the acrobatic finishes. My thing is more so, I just think more things could be thrown in there to get him some easier shots sometimes. I remember a random play against the Jazz recently where he was the second screener in a Spain pick and roll, and he got himself a wide open three at the top of the key. Like, okay, that's interesting. That's different. You know, his foul drawing has been good this season. His ability to make step backs or pull ups similar to KPJ on any given night, he can make enough of them to where the point total can creep up there. But still, the overall efficiency has not been ideal. And I do want to reiterate the foul drawing again, because I think last year, to put it bluntly, Jalen Green was not getting enough calls. He's nearly doubled his free throw attempts this season. I think that's a really good sign. Let's talk about Jabari. We'll get to Sengun after that. So Jabari, you know, his shooting numbers have not been ideal. He's shooting 32% from three, which is not what you would have hoped for given just the hype for his shooting coming out of college, the tough shot making, the catch and shoots and all that. But I do think some of this offense also is not doing him a lot of favors because I feel like they could also be running more off-ball sets for him. I feel like a lot of the time he's standing in the corner, spotting up, and sure, the ball will end up finding him, and then from there, he is shooting it a very regular amount of the time when the ball finds him, I'll just say that. And I think a lot of it is because he doesn't know when the next time he's going to get the ball. I mean, for the season, he's averaging like 44 touches a game, and he's averaging about 11 shots, so technically speaking, 1 in 4 times he gets it, he's going up with it. It's not like he's the lead ball handler, you know? With that said, I don't think Jabari should be absolved of all criticism. Like, yeah, you'd hope the shooting numbers would be better. That being said, the form is still good. He's got all the confidence in the world in the shot. I'm not concerned with Jabari. And not just with the shooting with Jabari. I think defensively, still a lot of good signs. I mean, their last one against the Kings, I remember a play where he goes to help out Sengun, who was dealing with Sabonis driving. And he does that, then he closes out to Keegan, and then he sticks with Keegan on the drive, and he gets him to miss a shot at the rim. His rebounding has been good. And now we get to Sengun, and I've already kind of previewed this, and I talked about him in my Bleacher Report video. We need more Sengun, man. I mean, Anthony Edwards himself said it, where he was like, yeah, we had to game plan for that guy. They got to build around that dude. Sengun, I mean, the post moves, the hook shots, the up and unders, the random, do I call them spin moves or drop steps or whatever. He's had times where, let's say the big is sagging off of him on the perimeter. He'll just put it on the floor and be able to close that distance and then get into a post move. He's got this one-handed thing that is somewhere between a floater and a push shot, if that makes any sense, but it freezes defenders. And of course, he's got the DNA to be looking for guys. Sabonis-esque with just constant handoff actions, and I think their offense looks the best when Sengun is involved much more. Now, I'm not saying starting tomorrow it should just be, okay, let's give Sengun the Jokic treatment and treat him as the main guy on this team and everything runs through him. Like, he's in his second season as well. But he can just do more, man. I mean, he had 10 assists the other game against the Kings. And I believe that Sengun can average at least 5 assists per game in the NBA, which is a lot for a center. Of course, Sengun's not perfect. I mean, I do think that sometimes he can get a little over-ambitious with some of the passes he attempts. And then other times he'll pull out like a fake pass, which will then get his defender off balance, and then he'll shoot a hook shot. And it's like, well, you know what, man? That's just going to be the Sengun experience. As for Sengun's defense, so in the games that I have seen, I have pretty much just seen him in drop. And I feel like he, for the most part, knows where to be in drop. Granted, part of the thing with drop is that you don't have to cover as much space, but you got to be able to stay in front of the guard while not just giving up something easy to your guy. I also think his effort, for the most part, has been fine. It's mostly just going to come down to, will his physical profile allow him to be like an awesome rim protector? I mean, he's listed at 6'11". Some things say he's like more so 6'10". He's got a 7-foot wingspan. He's not like your super fast twitch athlete who could just change direction and explode for a contested midair like that, even if he has been able to get blocks, and he is able to dunk as well. I'm not saying he can't like get up there at all, but he's not exactly Dwight Howard. So we'll see. Having Jabari on his team will help him out for sure. I do want to mention Kenyon Martin Jr. He's really good at finishing. He sets screens for pretty much everybody between KPJ, Jalen Green, whoever. He's always looking for cutting opportunities. He averages about 5 rebounds a game. And he's just got some basketball DNA that I'm just a fan of. And yes, he can get up there. They call him KJ Martin, so yeah. What is next for this team? Well, we're going to ride out this season. The record is not going to be pretty. They're going to hope for a top pick. Wembanyama, of course. And if you get number 1, of course you draft him. But let's say that they were number 2, and Scoot proves to be the second guy behind Wembanyama, which by all accounts he pretty much is. Then just draft Scoot. I know KPJ is your lead ball handler, but just draft Scoot Henderson. As for some other future stuff with this team, I mean, they've got a lot of draft picks in the future from the Harden trade and all that. Granted, next season, they only get their pick if it finishes in the top 4 in the lottery. So that'll be kind of weird. I'm sure Rockets fans don't want to go through another season like this one. They've also got a Nets pick for next season, so I don't know. And that's kind of it. Eric Gordon's here too, so that's cool.